So what is your name?
James Pagel.
And what area are you located or have experienced or lived in the Gulf Beach communities?
I lived on Pagel.
All right. And first we're going to start off by asking you, how has your experience been in the LGBTQ plus community impacted the way you see or experience the Gulf Beaches community? And how has this shaped the way you interact within the LGBTQ plus and other communities?
Are we talking about back in the 80s?
Yes, we can.
Because I don't really go to the beach much anymore.
Yeah, we can talk about the time period then and maybe talk about how it has shaped you now. Maybe if it's changed the way you view certain parts or areas or just things you choose to do in your life. Just anything.
Well, when I first moved down here, it was my father had moved down here with his new wife, and I came down to spend some time with him, a couple, 3 months, whatever. This was back in the late 70s. And my stepmother at the time told me, oh, you should go down to Pagel Beach. It's a really nice beach. So I went down there, and I was walking along the beach, and I came up to a concession stand, which was like in the middle of Pagel Beach. And as I continued to go down the beach, on the other side of the concession stand, it wasn't families anymore. It was just male guys in Speedo bathing suits. And the beach was packed. And I thought, well, this might be kind of interesting. And there was a gay bar right across the street from the concession stand. It was called Jack's 809. It is now the Hurricane. But everybody went to Jack's 809 and got beers and socialized and stuff like that. In fact, I even got a job there for a short period of time. Then I moved back to Madison, Wisconsin, where I'm from. But something about the beach just kept calling me back because I liked the weather, the number of gay people that were there, and I felt at home there. So I came back to Florida. And at this point, Jack's 809 had been closed down, and there wasn't any place for the gay people to go to get a beer when they went to the beach. That's when the Lighted Tree came into play. It wasn't called the Lighted Tree at the time, but the owner of the owner there welcomed the gay community into that little bar, which was just beer and wine. It got sold a couple of times and then finally ended up as the Lighted Tree. And I had moved to St. Louis in the early 80s and came back to Florida about 1984. And from there, I got a job bartending at the Lighted Tree. I also part-time DJ'd at another bar called the Cheshire Cat in Gulfport, which is now a bar called Peppers.
Yeah, I've actually heard of that one before. Cheshire Cat. I don't know why, but I've heard it before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm from around the area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm familiar with like a lot of the places you're talking about.
There was a there was a biker bar across the street from the Lighted Tree called Shadrack's. Still is there. And they cause a lot of trouble because they like to make fun of the gay people and, stuff like that. Well, when I moved back here in 84, the AIDS epidemic was in full swing, but it was still a big mystery, and people were dying very quickly. There was a fence on an empty lot across the street from Shadrack's, which was on the same side of the street that the Lighted Tree is on. And one Sunday, me and another employee were getting ready to open the lighted tree, and we took a walk down, and we saw the fence had been painted in black spray paint with the words AIDS Station and an arrow pointing towards the lighted tree. Well, we were very offended by this, and we went and got some black spray paint, and we proceeded to cover up the words AIDS. Well, it kind of was a trap because there happened to be a policeman right there. And he arrested both of us and charged us with criminal mischief.
Wow.
The owners of the bar, Bill and Frank, they got us an attorney, and the judge pulled us when we were up, in court for these charges. The judge pulled us into his chambers and told us he was going to throw this case out. We were never charged with what we were charged with, criminal mischief. But he also explained to us that wasn't your property.
Yeah.
And you really shouldn't have done anything about it. Even though the people who wrote it didn't get caught, you guys did. So, anyway, that was just something that happened.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. Mm-hmm. It's like hard to handle things like that sometimes.
But there was still a lot of prejudice, especially because of the AIDS epidemic, which everybody was kind of blaming on the gays at the time.
Do you think that these situations that you've been placed in has changed the way you interact within your community?
Oh, it made me closer to them because, you're discriminated against, and and don't anybody tell me, well, you chose this lifestyle. Well, I didn't. Why would I choose to be persecuted, hated, and it's not something you choose.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that, or because they're not that way. It hasn't happened to them, or they don't know anybody. So.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand.
But it kind of bonds us together because we are,
a community.
That.
Yeah. So that around what time period do you?
This is around 84, 85.
And then how long
86.
Did you remain in the Gulf Beach area?
I left in 86. I left the lighted tree and moved to Atlanta for a short period of time.
And then from Atlanta, did you move?
I moved back.
Oh, you moved back here?
Yeah.
Oh, so you came back here quite a few times.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually because there was a partner involved.
Oh, okay.
So it was like I met my second lover in the second time I was here, and we moved to St. Louis because he got a job up there. So, but then when we split up, I came back.
Okay.
Then I moved to Atlanta to do a little business venture with a friend, but that didn't work out, and I ended up moving back here. And when I was in Atlanta, that's when the lighted tree burned. And that was after the two lesbians took over. They also owned Bedrocks over on Treasure Island.
It's a very popular place, or was. I'm not sure now.
Well, it's torn down now, but
yeah, I've heard of that.
At the time, it was an amazing building. It looked like something out of the Flintstones.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it then, I believe. So you moved back here a few times. Do you feel that when you left here, the environment was different, when you went to other places?
Things change all the time, and people come and go. So it's every time I came back, there would be some people that were still around that I knew, but things have changed with them. So it was kind of like starting over again.
And do you, when you went to other places, did you feel that those environments were kind of different from down here?
Oh, yeah.
Were they more welcoming there, or Like, did you enjoy the other places that you went to more
Oh,
than?
very
or-
much so. Very much so. But the beaches were what's, I was real attracted to in the beginning, and that's why I kept coming back, and the weather.
Yeah.
But sometimes we move for love, and when that doesn't work out, it's like. But every place I've been, I usually worked at a gay bar or DJ'd at a gay bar. So it was just a different community with different surroundings, but still, everybody's gay.
Okay. It says, are there specific places in your community where you feel or felt completely comfortable performing your identity, gay identity, or queer identity, I guess it says here? Are there places you code switch and feel less comfortable? Like maybe somewhere where you mask your identity just to feel more comfortable in the environment?
I don't really ever mask my identity, but I don't put it out there. And I don't, if somebody asks me if I'm gay, I'm not going to lie about it. But I don't go out there and tell people that I'm gay, so it doesn't really bother me. I go wherever I feel like it.
All right.
But I'm more comfortable in gay bars with,
with your community.
With my community.
The follow-up question that we had was, how did you discover and express your identity as a member of your community? So, like, I guess the concept that we're trying to get at is maybe when did you realize that you were a part of this community? When did you realize you were gay, and how did you?
Well, I always kind of knew.
Oh, always.
Always. You just don't act on those feelings sometimes. And that's one of the reasons I moved to Florida, is because when I was living in Madison, Wisconsin, where I was born, I had two sets of friends, and I had to hide one from the other. And I was uncomfortable doing that because I didn't want my straight friends to find out that, that I was gay, because I was afraid that they would not want to be friends with me anymore. And like I said, if any one of them would have asked me, I would have told them. But nobody ever asked. And that's kind of why I moved back to Florida, because I wanted to be free and live my lifestyle the way I wanted to without having to hide it from anybody.
Well, that kind of answered a little bit of the question before too, so that's, thank you. Okay, so when you came here, you felt, based off of what you're saying, you came here, you felt more comfortable?
Yeah, because I didn't hide my identity.
Okay.
Today, all my straight friends know,
Okay.
and I'm still good. I'm still friends with them, so it's like.
I'm glad. That's good. That's good. It says, do you know about the bar on 8th Avenue, the lighted tree that burned down? If so, how did you feel about it? And was this a significant part of your life, which you kind of already told me about? But
I love that bar. It was on Sunday afternoons. You couldn't move in the place. It was jam-packed. And if you're honest with you, Sunday afternoons, just in tips, I could pay my rent for the month. Of course, rents weren't high. Like they,
it's
back
crazy.
then, like they are now.
Did you feel like the community? This is just me. Do you feel like the community there at the lighted tree had a lot of different people from different jobs and different classes of people? Like, it was, even though it was a gay community, it was still a diverse, or it was a LGBTQ plus community. It was still a diverse community of people that weren't just